Good evening. We're going to do a night walk with my newly introduced little toy, the T25C2. I just did a video on this, introducing it a few videos ago, but let me tell you folks, this is one heck of a light, and it is probably the best compromise of features for a tactical thrower. And well, let's go out and let's have some fun. I struggle to find a lot of space on these streets. That's due to the how active the street is, how much traffic we have on it. But no matter, it really isn't a bad idea to take a walk anyway. I have tried before to materialize the quest for flashlights and the obsession with illumination and put a meaning on it. And this goes not only for my obsession with flashlights and tents and light of any kind, but starlight. The only thing equally obsessing to me as flashlights is stars, particularly orange dwarfs and yellow dwarfs like we have. But in a way, the best light is just the best compromise of features. It's no different than a laptop being not too big, with just the right battery life, right features, right reliability. And that's how it is with our planet. This light is, to me, until I can find one that surpasses it, the best compromise of features. It has reliability, it has constant current, it has the right size, it has throw. It epitomizes all of the features that I need and more in something small. It has a good grip, it has the ergonomic side of things worked out properly. And if I have to look really hard to find things that are not a complete fit. And I've been using this thing, I'm expecting it to fall out of regulation anytime. I've been using this at work just to play around. I'm a department head as a risk manager, so you wouldn't think I would use that many flashlights, but even I occasionally go out at night just to play. But the best light is the best compromise, just like anything else. When you look at your planet, you find that you have the perfect type star. A yellow dwarf main sequence. And ours is the only star that we have found that is so quiet it allows life on this planet to exist. Most of the other stars you see out there are flare prone and are totally unfit for life. You can't even have life because they would sterilize the surface of their worlds. That's the first problem. But there is one other type of star that is capable of supporting life. And that is an orange dwarf, K-type star. And it is capable of sustaining life in some cases, but it's a little more than half the mass of our star. And if you can find one that is stable, you're guaranteed 70 billion years, 70 billion year lifespan, which is much longer than our 10 billion year lifespan. But the problem with all of the smaller stars is you have to get closer and closer to them because you have less brightness. And being that that is the case, you will be tidally locked if you get too close. This is why a red dwarf will not work. A red dwarf star will never work, not only because it's too flare prone, but because you have to be so close that the planet can no longer spin, and if it can no longer spin, it can no longer generate a magnetic field, and then you're sunk. You are going to not have a planet with life on it because it is tidally locked and you only see one side facing the planet and the other side facing away, which means you have a hot one side that's really hot and the other side that's cold. That is, if you even have a planet where you can keep water on the surface. It is a crazy mix of things. So I'm rambling a little bit, but this is, when you consider all of the features of our planet, you look at the right size of our planet itself. It's unlike Mars, which is too small to stay warm. It's lost its magnetic field long ago. It is, of course, you know, is lacking a magnetic field. It's too close to Jupiter, which brings all sorts of meteor showers and things that, if you lived there, you would have a whole lot of trouble. You would not want to live anywhere close to Mars. And people talk about living on Mars. Not only does it not have a magnetic field, but the radiation and closeness to Jupiter and the fact that the surface does not recycle itself would cause all kinds of problems. So here we are at the clearing, and this is doing pretty well. This is a pocket torch, and it's doing the job of a larger thrower. 41 KCD, PM1 emitter. I introduced this light a few videos ago. This is really a nice light because despite being this small, it is finely capable of reaching out and touching someone. I'm really impressed with it. And here we are on the other side. Very impressive. This is why this light I consider to be so amazing, because it is the best compromise of features, just like our planet. We have the right water. We have the right elemental breakdown. We have the right gas giants and ice giants surrounding us, but they're not really surrounding us. They're to the back of us, which blocks all sorts of debris that we would get. So they're like bouncers to a club, and they're kicking out all the rowdy drunks, which in this analogy are the asteroids that are messing, that would otherwise destroy us. And of course, if you're old enough, you remember Shoemaker Levy in 1994, which would have punched a hole in us had Jupiter not been there. Yeah, this is a very nice light. 41 KCD, it is a sun unto itself for pocket tactical purposes. But yes, you hit the jackpot. Whether you care to admit it or not, you hit the jackpot. You are the winner of a race, and you live on a world that is just in the right compromise. You have everything around you to give you the elements to observe the universe. We get visible light. We're able to see visible light, and there's very little light that is actually in the visible spectrum. So it's amazing that we can see anything with all the other types of light. We are in the right place in the galaxy. We're out of the shooting gallery of the inner galaxy. You could not have a planet inside up by the that hot bar center in our galaxy, because it's too hot. And of course, just a few thousand light years away, which is not far in galactic terms, and you have black holes start, and you have neutron stars. You don't want to be anywhere close to those, because you would be irradiated very quickly. And if you think that radiation from our sun is bad, then just being close to any of the gas giants is enough to cut right through. So our sun, us being 93 million miles away, we got lucky to be as far as we are away, to be surrounded by planets that allow us to see examples of what exactly other planets can be like. Look at that. Very good tactical light. It's not, this thing is not even really that hot. It's a little bit warm. A little bit warm in my hand. But it's putting out a great beam. And because it's constant current, I can count on this thing to perform the same way every time I pick it up. If I want to change the modes, I just slightly twist the head, which I don't do most of the time. Let's turn it back off, turn it back on. But yes, you got it. You're lucky. You are in the right place, the right time, in the right solar system, around the right star, and you have a world with a large moon. that keeps us at a 23.5 degree tilt, which allows, and that same moon was created by fracturing that from planet Theia, which ran into us, the leading theory suggests. And that's how we got our moon. It fractured the Earth, which allowed it to start absorbing its carbon. So it's like lily pads sitting on water. It's surfacing, it's pulling in the carbon, whereas Venus didn't have that, has no moon, and compresses all of that carbon and then shoots it out in the form of hundreds of, if not thousands of volcanoes, which used to be active and used to fill the planet, which turned it into a hell world. And that's why your planet is temperate, and all the other planets around you that are rocky, that are even big enough to have an iron core and a liquid core, are complete shit. You wouldn't want to live on them. You wouldn't want to live on Venus. It's too hot. It's also too close to the sun. And then you have Venus, which is just a giant ball of iron. I mean, Mercury, which is just a giant ball of iron. And it is, of course, super, super hot and barren, has no atmosphere, none to speak of. But if you go to Mars, Mars doesn't even have the right elements. It has a silicon potassium core versus an iron, potassium, and argon core like our own, which is really, really hot. And because it's like a small cup of coffee, it loses its heat quickly. If you lived on Mars, it's only a fifth the size of Earth, or maybe a fourth. It is not fit for life, not just because of the magnetic field, but as I've explained, it's just not it's not fit really at all for any sort of life. And I know people try to disagree on stuff like that and argue different points. You would never want to live there. You'd want to research there, but you would never want to go out and actually live on Mars, because it's completely God cursed. It's just not there. But we are at the Perseus Cove, which is that point in the solar system where we are in the back alleys. We're in the boonies. So we're not getting hit by all these stray asteroids where, here's my house. We're not getting hit with all these stray rocks. We're not getting hit with very few, actually. We get some, but. So ultimately, when you look at your place in the cosmos, you realize that you are in just the right spot for life. If you were any further out, you would have the trouble of low metallicity. You would end up around a star with low metallicity, a third generation star that's too far out, and so you wouldn't have enough to form planetary bodies. There wouldn't be enough elementals out there, which is a whole new set of problems. God, I love this little thing. But that's it, folks. That's you really want to know. Now here's the next question. I don't care what you believe or don't believe, but you have to eventually ask yourself, how could we get that lucky? And you can keep playing that game in your head where you say, well, we just got lucky. We just got lucky to have the right type of star, the right type of planet, the right type of solar system. And, it's all really nice and fine. But at what point are you going to say it is now one and the same as being created with a purpose? And that's where your mind starts to play games with you, and you start to rethink your purpose. You start to realize, hey, there is something else going on here, perhaps. And of course, it doesn't matter. The result is the same. It doesn't matter if something is divinely created or not, because the result is you are still here, and the universe is no less fascinating. You are it. You are here to ask the question. The fact that you ask the question means that there's a reason for that. And I look at all of my Christian friends and my Buddhist friends, and I see their differences, but ultimately, when you look at the fact that you ask the question, it's like entering in the room and saying, where's my car keys? And then realizing all the time that they were in your hand. You see, that's the way it is with truth, and that's the way it is with life. You realize you're it all along, and the universe is inconceivable. That's why Buddha never asked about he never asked or never suggested where the universe comes from. He only said you're not supposed to ask, or he implied you're not supposed to ask those questions. Whereas everybody back in Buddha's day was trying to figure things out and trying to imagine where things could come from. He never put a reason on it. He just left it at, it's inconceivable. And once you humble yourself to that, you can study your universe. You can study your things like lights, and the first creation was light. Anyway, I'm just talking out of my ass tonight, but I'm having fun doing it. Anyway, I know this is all, but the best light, just like our planet, is the best compromise. And when you're dealing with a torch that is fit for, it's been properly designed, and you have, in a sense, a chalice of light. You have a wielder of a divine gift, so to speak. All right, I'm gonna call it quits and head back home. I hope this has been somewhat interesting for you and entertaining. Go pick you up an EagTac. There's a reason I keep coming back to these EagTacs. There's some awesome light. Have a good night.